It's time now for the award-winning #1 local talk show in Northeast Pennsylvania, The Sam Lesante Show. Now here's your host, Sam Lesante.
Well, welcome once again, my friends, to the Schuylkill Chamber of Commerce TV series. We have got a great show for you today. I'm going to attempt to respond to some emails we're getting on the show. I'm getting emails from Scranton, from Wilkes-Barre, because we do play the show on YouTube as well. And of course, the series we bring to you is to bring a lot of information to you and why it's so important to have Chamber of Commerce. Of course, we're here at Schuylkill County, and my sidekick here, Bob Carl, no stranger to the show, is the president and CEO of the Schuylkill Chamber of Commerce. Robert, how are you?
Good morning, and great to have you back here.
Interesting summer so far?
Absolutely. Pretty beautiful summer, and we're working really hard to keep everything in check, bring back our businesses and our nonprofits, and the weather's been fairly cooperative, and a little worried about the resurgence of the coronavirus and the Delta strain, but working through it, and businesses are moving forward, as are the nonprofits, every day to continue to conduct business and restore their economic vitality.
All right, staying on that topic, I got an email from a person who said he wants to know, do the Chamber of Commerce take political sides? Because he or she felt that the Chamber of Commerce are for Republicans, okay, and not for Democrats. And he was concerned about that. So what is when someone says to you, well, the Chamber of Commerce, they're a Republican organization?
Well, I would dispute that. I would say that's not accurate. Clearly, when you look at chambers of commerce representing businesses and nonprofits, especially businesses, in our case, 775 members, about 150 of them nonprofits. So the majority being business. I think if you look at the history of the business agenda is probably right of center. I would not call it political in nature. I would not call it Republican or Democrat. But business and business operation is probably right of center on the spectrum of issues. And to answer your question, the involvement of chambers in politics, but I would say more appropriately stated in advocacy, is quite different as you look across the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and our nation. Meaning, some chambers are very strong in advocacy. Others take a stance that they prefer not to go there at all. We believe, as the Schuylkill Chamber of Commerce, we've been very successful in advocacy, and we think it's really important because someone has to be the voice of business and someone has to be the voice of nonprofits. And representing a majority of them in Schuylkill County, we believe that's a role we must play. So we are advocating on the issues. We could care less if the issues are Democrat, Republican. The issues are the important aspect, and making a voice, having a voice, and getting the attention of our state legislators and our federal legislators, our congressmen, to make sure our business and our nonprofit voices are heard.
Bob, every time I have a politician on, I have people who don't talk to me, okay, and even people I know will just about wave their hand and say hi because of the fact that I have some politicians on and express my viewpoint. And the point that they don't understand is I don't care whether they're Democrats or Republicans, but there's such a thing that we don't have anymore, I think, Bob, where we do not have the accountability factor for any politician. I always hear the blame game, okay? And that disgusts me. I get very upset when I hear, we're doing this show in Pottsville. You know what I hear? Pottsville's a Democrat city, okay? All the Democrats are in Pottsville, and Scranton's a Democrat. I think that's disgusting to me, and I'll tell you why. And if they said it was a Republican city, you don't take into consideration, you said you talk about issues. And there are some people that are staunch in the Democrats, staunch in Republicans, and I don't think that's a healthy thing. We have a problem today in the country where we're talking about the COVID-19, we're talking about the Delta. They have no test for Delta, then you have the this and the mask, and everyone's going crazy. They have the senior citizens going out of their minds. They have no idea what's going on. Do you think that's fair?
No, and I think that the political divide has not helped anything, and it's definitely quite different than it was a decade, especially 2 decades ago, in elected officials. We've lost the ability to collaborate and partner, to come to center. There always is a negotiation left to right, any political party. But at the end of the day, we have to find compromise, and we have to find a way to get things done. This hard right, hard left only divides us more, confuses people. And you said, you get this kind of feedback. Well, I will share, and this, that, I served for 4 years as a Republican elected commissioner. But I will tell you, as I think that I was there to represent the constituents of Schuylkill County. I was no longer a Republican, or if I was a Democrat, I was not of a political party. I was there to represent the citizens of Schuylkill County. And that's really what we need at all levels, state legislature, congressional leaders. And this is not our best day in the political world. And I think we're losing the ability to move the country and the Commonwealth forward as rapidly as we could because we're not working together. Everyone can have their issues, but at the end of the day, you need the other minority party to move along with you, and that means trade-offs on issues and collaboration and partnership and finding middle ground. And it's not impossible to do it, but you have to have a desire to do it.
I remember politicians like Senator Martin Murray, who was a Democrat, Pat Solano, God rest his soul, people like Frankie Fay in our area who were politicians, and even though they had affiliations, but they worked together. Senator Murray used to have these hot debates in the House and the Senate, and that night they all got together in his office and they all socialized, and they were human beings. Okay, today we have the blame game. You have cities who are disasters, but they don't want to take the responsibility. They want to blame the opposite party. Whether you're a Democrat, they'll blame the Republicans. If you're a Republican, they blame. Instead of taking accountability. And what does that do? It hurts. I think it hurts everybody.
And it's important to realize that everyone is going to be the lead dog at some point. So if you're in the minority today, you're going to eventually most likely be in the majority. And there's a respect that needs to be part of this whole equation. So again, to get things done, we should be trying to bring people together and work together. Everyone has their own agendas and their own issues, but some middle ground compromise is important for the betterment of our citizens.
So then this conversation, this Chamber of Commerce, okay, I don't know if all chambers are this way. I have some doubts about a few chambers in our area about their political affiliations, and they're staunch at it, which I think is wrong. The Chamber of Commerce should not take a Republican side or a Democrat side, maybe a side that's advocacy.
Correct. In fact, I will tell you my personal example is when I came on board here, having been a former elected official, I was asked about this very issue, and I told my board and my executive committee that I would continue to be neutral politically, meaning not play any major political card, so that I could work on the issues of the Schuylkill Chamber of Commerce. And I think we've done that effectively, and I can reach out to Democrats and Republicans alike when I need to advocate for the issues of our businesses and our nonprofits.
Well, I hope we answered the question, my friends. It's what's going on in this country today. I have to tell you, it's not a matter of taking sides. It's a matter of what we have. The cold facts are when you see prices going up and people not wanting to go to work, it's sad. Okay, how did that happen? Well, you go back and do history, and wherever the fault lays, it lays. Speaking of things that you do, we have a very interesting guest today.
Today we have the president of Helping Harvest, the Berks County and Schuylkill County Food Bank Association, that has a tremendous story. Jay Worrall, president, is with us today. And the amount of people needing food and food subsidization is so critical. I mean, one of the basic things in life, being able to have enough food to nourish our bodies, to continue to exist, is so important. And we have a story in Schuylkill County and in Berks County that Jay is working on that is so important to help the subsidization where it's needed. And it's a great network, and Helping Harvest has done a great job, and you're going to learn a lot about it. It was so important before the pandemic. The need maybe became more acute during the pandemic, but this is a wonderful story, and they're advancing this organization and growing, and the network is gigantic, and Jay's going to talk to you about that.
I'm sure it is. Okay, folks, we're looking forward to talk to Mr. Worrall. Remember, I tell you, my friends, stay around positive people. Avoid the negative people. They're not going to help you. Stay around people who are positive and think positive and want to move on in their lives. Whether they're Democrats, Republicans, Independents, I don't care what they are, okay? But take responsibility. If you be accountable for what's going on. And that's what we don't have in some cities, in some boroughs, in some townships. We have people who just have their own agendas and can care less about their constituents. We'll be back right after this. Thanks for staying with us, my friends. The Sam Lesante Show, 24/7, SSPTV.com, our YouTube channel. Just search Samson Productions. We're here at the Schuylkill Chamber. It's the Schuylkill Chamber of Commerce TV series, and we bring a lot of information to you. This gentleman here, president of Helping Harvest, Jay Worrall, I find this interesting how you're helping so many people, okay? You distribute over 7 million pounds of food annually to the more than 320 programs which feed hungry in Berks and Schuylkill counties. I think that's fair. Tell me about your company.
So we are the food bank that provides food to food pantries, homeless shelters, soup kitchens throughout Berks and Schuylkill counties. Like you said, we have 320 partners. Most of those are church pantries. And we provide the food for those pantries to help serve their neighbors in need. And we're very proud. We have such a strong network of partners in Berks and Schuylkill counties. I really can't say enough about them.
Well, okay, so tell me, how does this, there's average of 24,000 individuals were nourished with food received from a pantry on a monthly basis. Where do you get the food from, and how does that work?
So we get food in one of three ways. So there are government programs, USDA programs. There's a state program called the State Food Purchasing Program, and a state program called the Pennsylvania Agricultural Surplus System, where we're buying food from Pennsylvania farmers, providing them to our partner agencies who are giving them to people in need. We also get food donated through the retail system. So grocery stores, distribution centers. Our biggest donors are the Walmart and Wegmans distribution centers in the High Ridge Park in Pottsville. And they'll give us product that they can't sell, and we're able to give that again to people in need. And then the third way is that we purchase food. We raise money in the community to purchase food for those pantries to hand out to people when they need it.
Sometimes people think when they're going to a pantry that they're getting not good quality food. Okay, leftovers or something like that. How does that work? I mean, so to clear up that misunderstanding.
That's not the case. Probably I would say 45% of our food is food that comes to us purchased. So it's a new condition, a dry product or a frozen product or fresh perishable product, fruits and vegetables, dairy products, things like that. The stuff that we get from the retail stream has plenty of time left in its life so that it can be consumed safely. It's more of an issue that the retailer had more than they expected to have, or something didn't move very well. In some cases, they'll take frozen products and contribute them to the food bank. We have a freezer that holds 300 pallets worth of food. That's about 300,000 pounds worth of frozen food that we can distribute to people in need. So we're very careful to make sure that all the food that's distributed by our agency partners is healthy and safe to consume by our clients.
Now, you said a word, people in need, okay? They're here to serve the needy, not the greedy. the needy is what we try to do, because sometimes people take advantage of things that other people need, and I'm sure. So how does one who needs the food, you know, they come on hard times, they didn't expect it. A lot of people are proud, a lot of people are hesitant because, you know, but however, we try to help our neighbors. You know, you can be riding high in April and shot down in May, as they say. We've seen that all the time. Challenges happen to a lot of people that is unfortunate. What do you say to those people who really need your help and just can't find it, you know, because of embarrassment or whatever?
So, I mean, we think that the thing that keeps people from getting food from our system is that stigma that's associated with getting food from a food pantry, whether you want to call it pride or shame. It's two sides of the same coin, right? So we really want to encourage people, and we've seen it more this year than ever before. People in need should be able to come get food from us to feed their families. We're doing distribution in new ways right now because our volume is so much higher than it's ever been before. You said we do about 7 million pounds of food a year, and that certainly was true before March of 2020. Last year we did over 11 million pounds of food distributed. So we saw lots of people in our lines who had never been there before. And it's a very emotionally moving experience to see people in lines in cars, looking around. They don't know what to expect. They don't know what questions we're going to ask them. So, we ask them, how many people are in your household? How many of those people are over 60? How many of those people are under 18? Do you fall within our income guidelines? Every family has to fall within 150% of the federal poverty guidelines to receive food from a partner in our system.
What is that guideline?
For an individual, like a senior, it would be about $15,000 a year. For a family of four, it would be something less than $30,000.
Okay, so if a senior is making $15,000, okay, when you say, is there any leeway there? What's the 150%?
So there's not much leeway. I mean, the federal government. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. If they're making $16,000, do they qualify?
They don't qualify.
Okay, so it's $15,000 for seniors.
Yeah, and I should say, we have many different programs that we provide food for. Yeah. Not all of them have exactly the same income threshold, but that's a general rule. I would say if you're in need of food, come to us and we'll figure out a way to help you.
Okay, yeah, because that's always a question about. My father-in-law, who has since passed, only he was like $10 over whatever his qualification. I mean, it's like, that was nuts, okay? Yeah. And so he was deprived of certain things. And I'm sure there's thousands of people out there who, the government sometimes plays little tricks with us, little games. But, you just said something. If you're in need and you have a serious problem, you'll work something out.
Come to us, we'll figure out a way to help you.
COVID-19, how do you guys cope with that situation?
It was very challenging. So, our volume spiked almost immediately when the virus hit the United States. So in the second week in March of 2020, we did about our typical distribution, about 140,000 pounds of food in a week. That's pretty typical for us. The third week in March, the week that the schools closed, we did 340,000 pounds of food distributed. And we did that with the same number of trucks, the same number of employees, the same number of truck drivers, the same number of pallet equipment as we had before. It was a very exciting time in the history of Helping Harvest Food Bank. Through April, May, June, it was just all hands on deck. Every manager was helping pick orders. I was driving truck. It was really exciting. I lost 25 pounds because we were running around in the warehouse in that time. Since then, through the generosity of the community, we've been able to purchase some additional trucks, hire some additional staff, and so while our volume is still very high, it's not as exciting as it was a year ago because we sort of have the infrastructure to move additional food. The real challenge for us last year we had a budget of $384,000 to purchase food in 2020. We actually ended up purchasing almost $3.5 million worth of food. And the only way that we were able to do that, the only way, is because people in our community understood the need of the hungry in our communities, and they helped us. So we were able to through donations from people in the community, meet that need. And I'm so proud of what a generous community we live in.
Boy, it does my heart great. It makes my heart warm to find out that we have people like you in your organizations that are servicing people that really didn't expect to get where they are. I mean, and like I said, I've seen so many people in my life who were, when they were riding high, they could care less about anybody else, and then some unfortunate things came in their families or their businesses or jobs, and all of a sudden they were in need, okay? So you should never be embarrassed, I don't think, or ashamed. Challenges happen in our life, I got to applaud you really in your organization. I think it's fabulous. You have to have a passion for what you do. You have to have a feeling for what you do. It's not just a job. You just said you were driving truck. You didn't care what it was, right? That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I love my job. I actually was hired right before the pandemic began. So I started in October of 2019, and my predecessor stayed on until the end of November 2019. Right. So I almost didn't really know what my job was until everything all of a sudden changed. But it was such an exhilarating experience. Again, so rewarding to see how the community understood our need. And I didn't have time to call and ask people for money. I had people from the United Way in Schuylkill and Berks County, from the Schuylkill Community Foundation, from the Berks Community Foundation, county commissioners just calling and saying, Jay, what do you need?
Fabulous. See, that's what I like to see. And they didn't care whether you were a Democrat, Republican. They just want to help people.
That's right. That's right.
And I think that's right. Congratulations to you and the best to your organization. I really mean it. I think it's great.
Thank you very much.
Phone number is on the screen, folks, as he was talking. Send them a donation or whatever suggestions you have. I don't know if they ever need any help, but however, they're there for you. It's called Helping Harvest, and Jay Worrall is the president. I want to thank Bob Carl for bringing him on. These are the kind of shows I love, because we're showing the community how we care about them. And we don't have a political agenda. We're only concerned about what we can do which is better of our society. We'll be back after this. Well, welcome back to the Sam Lesante Show, 24/7 SSPTV.com, our YouTube channel. For those of you who do not have the cable, which I think you should have, our YouTube channel, and my email is sam@ssptv.com, our times. And the Comcast, the greater Pottsville area, Comcast 190 from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. And of course on the Service Electric Cablevision, channel 13 and 513, we're on 24/7 every day. And in the Wilkes-Barre system, Service Electric Communications, channel 92, Saturdays and Sunday evenings from 7 to 11 p.m. And once again, the YouTube channel is doing extremely well. We produce only neighborhood programs, and we're proud to do that. Bob, we had an interesting conversation with the world.
Jay's a great leader of Helping Harvest, and there's a lot of opportunities for our community, again, in collaboration and partnership with Helping Harvest, whether you want to volunteer, whether you want to donate some money so that they can expand their programming. They've got a great staff, but we can all help, and a lot of people in the greater Schuylkill County community have done exactly that when they have their opportunities for people to use the food bank through their local churches, shelters, food pantries. There's a lot of opportunities, and Jay's leading a diverse organization, and give them a call and plug into Helping Harvest.
Okay, I'm sure we have more exciting shows coming up.
Absolutely. We're going to continue our affiliate programming in our 9 communities and continuing to bring to you and to your audience what's happening in Schuylkill County.
Okay, remember, my friends, my email is sam@ssptv.com. Please send me your comments, good or bad. I will be more than happy to review them. And if you have any specific questions for Bob, we'll bring them to him. We'll see you next time.